Coach, very quickly.
Sure.
Basketball is so fluid and so star-driven. I have to watch multiple games to get a feel, are you a good coach or not?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, even a Steve Kerr or a Spoelstra will just let the star dictate the offense. You're not calling plays a lot like you do in college basketball. But the one thing I see with the Lakers, especially in the first quarter, I can see what they're trying to do. They have a game plan. And with Darvin Ham, a lot of times I felt like they were kind of just letting the game come to them. I feel like J.J. Redick, this is what we're doing for the first 6 minutes. And I don't know. I think he's been sensational.
First of all, I really like JJ personally, and I think he's been popular in the locker room because of that personality. He's super intense, obviously, very meticulous, but players like that. They want a guy who cares as much or more than they do. And one of JJ's core beliefs is there's a lot outside of the game that you can control. And since there's so much inside the game that you can't once you get on the court, control everything outside the game, make it all better. So to your point about being organized, having your rotations down, having the guys know where they're supposed to be when, all of that really matters so that when the stuff happens that you can't control, you already have the leg up of the stuff that you can. And we see that over and over on the court. You also see, frankly, with the way that he is playing Luka at the beginning of games, Luka has so much of the load in the first quarter that LeBron James, at 40 years old, is able to be great offensively, but also defensively at the end of games. And that has been a problem for them the last couple years. When LeBron runs out of gas, which he has in playoff games at the end of games, the Lakers don't have anything else. Not only now do they have something else in Luka, but LeBron's not running out of gas. And it's the first time, Colin, in LeBron's entire career that you and I have ever seen anyone multiply LeBron. LeBron is usually the multiplier. He's the guy who makes other guys around him better than they are, right? He makes things easier. He makes things better. He draws more attention. Luka is making LeBron better at age 40. We've never seen that with LeBron. No one's ever multiplied LeBron or made LeBron better, and Luka Doncic is doing that. That's incredible for the Lakers.
You know, when you make trades in pro sports, and this is really kind of systemic in business as well, is that there are always unintended benefits or consequences. That you make a big merger and you're like, oh, we didn't know this would be good too, or the opposite. And so I think when you make the Jimmy Butler move for the Warriors, you knew you'd be better defensively and you knew he'd get you to the line, but you didn't know that Steph would be playing with a vigor and energy that was like, oh, multiplied. So it's like you can't guess everything. So here's where the Mavericks, not only was the trade bad, but the problem,
visceral reaction. I apologize.
The problem giving up Luka, coupled with the injuries they had with their bigs before Luka was traded, is that then Kyrie is your only play initiator. Now, Spencer Dinwiddie is a good player. Now, Kyrie's got to play more minutes and have the ball incessantly. And my take, and maybe it's a reach, is part of the injury is you didn't consider, oh, God, we've only got 2 initiators. We trade one. Kyrie's a smaller athlete with injuries.
I don't think that's controversial at all. We have heard people say, oh, come on, ACL isn't an overuse injury. Stop talking about his minutes. I'm sorry. I completely disagree. No, it's not an overuse injury. I know that. But when your body is tired, we all know this. When your body is tired, you are more vulnerable to everything.
Rachel, what's the worst run skiing? The last run of the day. Like the old saying is,
you're most likely to get injured on the last run of the day. Your body is tired. Everything is less precise in your movements. Every part of your body is sort of compensating for different things and different muscles. And I don't care if something is, quote, an overuse injury or not. If your body is worn down, you are more susceptible to getting hurt. And it, of course, is bad luck the way Kyrie got hurt. But you can create conditions that make bad luck more or less likely to happen.
That's right.
And a team in the Dallas Mavericks that partly their justification for the trade was that Luka's habits and conditioning was creating poor conditions for his possible future health. If that is part of the reason that you decided, hey, bad luck happens, but we can create conditions to make it more or less likely, don't trade for a guy, an Anthony Davis, who has an injury history and is older. And don't put so much of a load on Kyrie Irving, who has an injury history and is older. You are creating conditions for bad luck to happen, whether it's overuse or a fluke or not. And the Dallas Mavericks have walked right into it. And again, I don't understand it because Jason Kidd is so smart. And Nico Harrison is really smart. And I don't know what's happening there.
Well, you know, I had a discussion with somebody the other day on this in the NBA circle. And I think when the players, that CBA where the players like LeBron and Chris Paul had a big say in the CBA, where it paid the stars like it felt like they got all the money.
Yes.
C players, you're on your own.
All the money.
So it was great for LeBron. It was great for Chris Paul, Steph Curry. It's great for Giannis. But now the max is 70 million to 75. So Luka qualifies for that. I think it's one thing for a billionaire to write a $40 million annual check. When you almost double it, they're going to consider everything, including conditioning, injury history. I mean, like Paul George, good player. Clippers are like, we can't go there.
But don't you have to consider it in both directions if you're the Mavericks? Sure, if you're considering it on the way out for Luka, aren't you supposed to be considering it on the way in with the guys that you got coming in?
Yeah.
I don't think that this was foreseeable in the way of like, man, we're going to be sitting here 3 weeks, a month after the trade, and their top two stars are going to be gone. But it wasn't unimaginable. And that's the difference. It's not like you couldn't have been like, that's impossible. You had two older stars on the other side of 30 who have an injury history. And it's not a complete, oh, my God, I could never have imagined that this happened. And the question now is, do you even bring AD back this season? I'm not sure I would, right?
Now that Kyrie's out, I probably wouldn't.
I don't know. Maybe, then you have a contingent of Dallas fans online, and, they're still feeling emotional. They're in their feelings, but they'd like to trade AD this summer. Because the point is, the thinking goes, this is not my theory.
They have a lot of bigs already.
No, but there is a fan push out there to say, hey, Anthony Davis is never going to be more valuable than he is this summer. He's not going to be more valuable the next summer or the next summer. Kyrie isn't going to be there for at least half the season next season. So really, what is the AD-Kyrie window that you're talking about? And do you have to just start again? Now, I think that Anthony Davis should stick around in Dallas and see what you can do with him next season. But I understand the frustration of people feeling like this is already a loss. Are you already going to tell me a future? When Nico Harrison said, I've got 3 or 4 year window, tell me the future. How would it lay out that they could win a championship in the next 3 years? It's a tough look.
So I think I don't think the NBA's had nearly as many faces of the league as people would submit to.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's been Magic. I don't even think Bird was. Bird was French lick. He was ornery. He didn't want to do ads. I think Magic sort of pulled him along. Magic was the face. Michael was the best face. LeBron's the face. Curry's close. Some have argued that Kobe and Shaq together collectively for about 5 years were the face. I'm not going to, I don't argue. I've argued that Jason Tatum has a lot of things, but kind of lacks a aura or a clutch time resonance with people. But the other thing that's thrown out there, and it's fascinating because I don't know what's right. People say, could an international player be face of the league? Now, something that was brought up to me that I think is important is that we knew Michael, Magic, and LeBron's story when they were like 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
International guys, we don't. Now, I do think as international basketball elevates, it is, I mean, we knew Wemby a year before he came.
I was going to say.
So I don't have an answer. Could an international player be the face of a sport in America?
I mean, look, we've seen it in baseball, right?
Shohei is.
Right here in Los Angeles. I do think the most likely candidates are a Victor Wembanyama, who I think is going to be the health, obviously, health being a factor, and we saw something just last month, but health sustained, then I think that he is going to be maybe the top player in the next 10 years. Is he the face of the league? Is that instead going to be Luka because he's here in Los Angeles, another foreign-born player?